Good morning class, Sairam. Today we will start our next chapter, that is mechanical properties of fluids. In this chapter the first topic we will understand, that is fluids, definition of fluids. So fluids are those substances which can flow when an external force is applied on it, and liquid and gases are examples of fluid. So fluid is that substance on which if we apply some amount of force, okay, then this substance or this matter will have a property of flowing on the surface. Means that material can flow on any given particular surface, then that substance will be considered as fluid. Okay, fluid do not have finite shape but takes the shape of the container or vessel in which they are poured. So it is the total normal force exerted by the liquid at rest on a given surface, and it is called thrust of the liquid. So whenever some liquid is kept on a surface, then total amount of weight or total amount of force exerted by the fluid on the surface is called its thrust. SI unit of thrust is Newton, because basically it is a force only. Now we have two kinds of properties of fluid. One is when fluid is at rest, then this property of fluid or this branch of fluid is called hydrostatics. And when fluid is in motion, then fluid is classified as hydrodynamics. Hydro means water or fluid you can consider, and dynamics means moving. Okay, and here hydrostatic means hydro, that is liquid, and is static condition means at rest. Now next thing we will understand what is the pressure exerted by the liquid. So the normal force exerted by a liquid per unit area of the surface in contact is called pressure of liquid or hydrostatic pressure. So hydrostatic pressure means what? When your hydro or simply you can say your liquid is at rest. Okay, this hydro is at rest, hydrostatic. Then the amount of pressure on a unit area, suppose this base area is A, then amount of force on a given area is called pressure, hydrostatic pressure. So mean pressure on the walls of a vessel containing liquid up to a height h is rho g h by 2. So if we want to calculate the mean amount of pressure or average pressure on the wall of the container, then your pressure just forms a triangle. We call it triangle, or you can call it pressure diagram also. Okay, your pressure at the base is rho gh, and its average value is considered as rho gh by 2. Next thing is Pascal's law. The increase in pressure at a point in enclosed liquid in equilibrium is transmitted equally in all directions in liquid and to the walls of the container. So basically Pascal's law says that your liquid or fluid applies or exert the same amount of pressure in all directions. Okay, pressure exerted by the liquid in all direction is same. Okay, so this law is called what? Pascal's law. The working of hydraulic lift, hydraulic press and hydraulic brakes are based on Pascal's law. Next we have atmospheric pressure. So the pressure exerted by the atmosphere on the earth is called atmospheric pressure. Its value is about 10 raised to the power 5 Newton per meter square, and it is equivalent to weight of 10 tons on 1 meter square area. Means it is very huge amount of pressure. So at sea level, atmospheric pressure is equal to 76 centimeter mercury coulomb, or we can say that our pressure is rho gh. So value of rho for mercury is 13.6, and gram per centimeter cube, its unit is gram per centimeter cube. Then G, that is 9.8, but in CGS unit we will write it 980. Okay, and h, your height is 76 centimeter, because we are taking everything in CGS system. So here this value will come out to be 76, 13.6 and 980. That is the amount of pressure. And other units of pressure are also given, like 1 torr, that is defined as 1 mm of mercury column, or 1 bar, that is 10 raised to the power 5 Pascal. Next thing we have, that is buoyancy. So when a body is partially or fully immersed in a fluid, an upward force acts on it, which is called buoyant force, or simply buoyancy. So the buoyant force are what? Buoyant force acts at the center of the gravity of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the body, and this point is called the center of buoyancy. In this principle you can understand in this way. Suppose if you immerse any liquid or immersed any body on a liquid, then it will replace some amount of water, and this body will experience some amount of upthrust. That upthrust or upward force is actually equal to the weight of displaced water. Okay, so this is called buoyancy principle. Next we have Archimedes principle. According to this principle, when a body is partially or fully immersed in a liquid, it loses some amount of weights, and it is equal to weight of liquid displaced by immersed part of the body. So it is saying that suppose if any object weighed 3 kg in air, and when you immerse this body in water, its weight is 2 kg. So it appears that body has lesser amount of weight, and that reduction in weight is 1 kg. So this 1 kg will be equal to weight of displaced water, and that displaced water will also be equal to 1 kg. And here it is saying that if T is the observed weight of a body of density sigma, then when it is fully immersed in a liquid of density rho, then real weight of the body can be calculated by using this formula, that is W equal to T observed weight upon 1 minus rho upon sigma, where rho is what? That is the density of the liquid, and sigma is what? That is density of body. Next we have law of flotation. So a body will float in a liquid if the weight of the body is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the body. Okay, so suppose if the weight of the body which is trying to float on a given liquid, okay, if weight of the displaced water is more, only then your body can float. Okay, and it should be equal to weight of, it should be greater than equal to weight of whole body. So that will be the condition of flotation. So here W is greater than small w, then the body will sink to the water. Okay, that means weight of body is greater than weight of displaced water, and if weight of body is lesser than displaced water, then it will be partially submerged in the liquid, and when both are equal, then body will float in a liquid, and its whole volume, means whole body, will be immersed inside a liquid. Okay, in case if both weight are just equal. Then we have next thing, that floating body will be in stable equilibrium if meta center, or which is the center of buoyancy, means on which your buoyancy force is acting, lies vertically above the center of gravity. And the floating body will be in unstable equilibrium if the meta center of buoyancy lies vertically below the center of gravity of the body. Then here we have few definitions like density and relative density. So density of a substance is defined as the ratio of its mass to its volume. So density is normally defined, or mass density you can say, that is mass upon volume. Now density of water is what? That is 1 gram per centimeter cube or 1000 kg per meter cube. Again density is a scalar quantity. Its dimensional formula is ml raised to the power minus 3, because it is basically nothing but kg per meter cube. So relative density is what? Relative density of a substance is defined as ratio of its density to the density of water. Means if we compare density of any substance to the density of water, okay, in that case we call it relative density. For formula we can say that relative density equal to density of substance upon density of water, okay, or you can call it weight of substance in air to the loss of weight in water, that is also equal to relative density. And this formula gives you a specific gravity condition. So for a solid body, density of a body is equal to density of substance, while for a hollow body we can say that density of body is lesser than that of substance, okay. So for immiscible liquid we can say that different densities are poured in a container. The liquid of highest density will be at the bottom. If you are having two immiscible liquids, means those liquids which cannot mix together, okay, in that case density of bottom part, or you can say that liquid which has higher density, that will go to the bottom part, that will sink, and the liquid which has lesser density, that will float. So here if we have a mixture, then if we want to calculate density of a mixture of substance, and condition is that two liquid of masses m1 and m2 having density ρ1 and ρ2, okay, or p1 and p2 here it is mentioned, but you can understand like ρ1 and ρ2, and these are mixed together, then this mixture will have a density, that is mass upon volume. So total mass is m1 plus m2 upon volume will be mass upon density, okay, mass upon ρ1, and plus second mass m2 upon ρ2, okay. If you will solve this expression, then this ρ1 and ρ2 will come to the numerator part, okay, and in denominator we will have m1 ρ2 plus m2 ρ1, and in numerator part we will have one term, that is m1 plus m2. So when two liquid of same masses but of different densities ρ1 and ρ2 are mixed together, then density of mixture can be given by 2 ρ1 ρ2 upon ρ1 plus ρ2, because this m1 we can consider m only, and m2 will also be equal to m, and this m1 and this m2 both are same, then this 2m will be cancelled out, 2m, and in denominator we will have m, in numerator we will have 2m. So m to m will be cancelled out, we will get a factor of 2. So formula will be twice of ρ1 ρ2 upon ρ1 plus ρ2. Now if we have condition that when liquid of same volume but different densities ρ1 and ρ2 are mixed together, then density of mixture becomes density of first liquid plus density of second liquid and whole upon 2, okay. And we know that density of a liquid varies with pressure, okay. So what is the effect of pressure? Rho equal to rho naught into 1 plus delta P by K, where rho naught is what? Initial density of the liquid, and K is bulk modulus of elasticity, and delta P is what? That is change in pressure. So in this way we can calculate the variation of density. So this is all for today. Thank you. Sai Ram.